of matrix? The matrix is a rectangular array of numbers. That means this is a rectangular arrangement of numbers. This number can be real numbers or the complex numbers. These elements actually enclosed by a pair of brackets. Enclosed by these numbers are enclosed by a pair of brackets which is of this form where A11, A12, AMN up to AMN are called the entries or elements of the matrix. And this matrix is actually M into N matrix. That means row by column. Calculate this row by column. How many number of rows, how many number of columns are there. Here number of rows are M, number of columns are N. So it is row by column matrix. Okay. And here you can use the third bracket or also you can use the first bracket also. Okay. First bracket indicates matrix and also the third bracket also indicates matrix. And A11, A12, A1M. What does it mean? A11 means the first row, first column. A11, it indicates actually the position of this element. Okay, A11 means the position of this element is in the first row and in the first column. First row, first column. A12. It means the position of this element is first row, second column. Similarly, A22. This is second row, second column. So is it clear, all of you? The definition?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Still people are joining. I told you several times to join within 5 minutes. In that case, don't ask me for attendance. Okay. Okay. Now, conditions for addition, subtraction, and multiplication of matrix. Okay. Now I will tell you that what is the condition for addition, what is the condition for subtraction, and what is the condition for multiplication. And look at here. Here I have defined this is matrix. M-A-T-R-I-C-E-S. Matrix. And before that, here I have defined it M-A-T-R-I-X. What is the difference between these two spelling? Can anyone tell me?
Singular and plural.
Yes, this one is singular. It means only single matrix. Okay. And if you want to define two or more matrix, in that case you have to write this spelling. Because addition, subtraction, and multiplication is only possible for several matrix. So in that case, it will be plural. And if you want just consider a single matrix, in that case you have to write down the X. Okay. Now, what is the condition of addition and subtraction? Addition and subtraction of matrix is defined only for the matrix having the same number of rows and the same number of columns. Addition and subtraction of two matrices or three matrices or four matrices is possible only the number of rows and number of columns of two matrices will be always same. This is the condition for addition and subtraction. I want to show you the example. This matrix addition and subtraction. Look at here. Can you see the page? The PDF file?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We can see it.
Okay. This is A1, A2, A3, A4. Here the second matrix, it is B1, B2, B3, B4. If I ask you for addition, what is the process of adding these two? You have to add the first element, this first element, and this first element. That means A1 plus B1. If I want to tell you the subtraction, the process is same. It will be A1 minus B1. After that, this second element plus this second element. Also A2 minus B2. After that, A3 plus B3 or A3 minus B3, A4 plus B4, A4 minus B4. This is the condition of addition and subtraction. This is the process. This is the process, and here you can see here this is 2 by 2 matrix. Number of rows are 2, number of columns are 2. Here also this is 2 by 2 matrix. So it is possible to add these two matrices because both matrix sizes are same. Now look at here. Okay, if I ask you to subtract from this matrix to this matrix, what will be the result? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, not possible. It can't. Not possible, ma'am. Is
It is not possible because here this is 2 by 2 matrix, and here you can say the number of rows are 2 and number of columns are 3. That's 2 by 3 matrix. So you cannot subtract these two matrices. Okay. If I ask you for this question that subtract these two, your answer will be obviously not possible. Okay. So is it clear that when addition and subtraction is possible and how to add two matrices and how to subtract two matrices? Is it clear or not? Please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I know that most of you, that means almost everyone, you did this matrix chapter before in your intermediate, but still I'm telling you everything from the basic. Okay, so still if you have any problem, you can ask me. Now the second condition, two matrices A and B are conformable for multiplication. That means two matrices A and B, you can multiply A and B only when if the number of columns in A is equal to the number of rows in B. That means if two matrices, if you multiply two matrices, if you want to, if number of the first matrix column will be equal to the rows of number of rows of the second matrix. So let's see the example. Okay, look at here. This is the A matrix and this is the B matrix. Okay, this is the B matrix. Look at here. Number of columns. This is the number of columns. 1, 2, 3. And here in the second matrix, the number of rows. 1, 2, 3. Both are equal. So it is possible to multiply these two matrices. The number of columns for the first matrix is equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. Now, what is the procedure of multiplication? What is the procedure of multiplication? If you forget that, please try to understand this. I have used here A1, B1 to making you understand. Because if I use digit, maybe you will not be able to understand if you forget that. At first, you have to consider here the first row, and you have to consider here the first column. So multiply every element. A1 into B1, after A2 into B4, after that A3 into B7. These will be the first number, first element. After that, second row, first column. Here, it will place here. So A4, B1, A5, B4, A6, B7. This is our second number here, A21 position. After that, A7, B1, A8, B4, A9, B7, and it will placed here. So considering the first column in B is over. After that, you have to consider the second column and you have to place here. You have to place here. So it will be A1 into B2, A2 into B5, A3 into B8 here. After that, A4 into B2, A5 into B5, A6 into B8. After that, you have to place here. Then A7, B2, A8, B5, A9, B8. After that, finally this. Now, after that, you have to consider the third column in B. Similar process you have to continue. That is A1 into B3, A2 into B6, A3 into B9. And finally, A7 into B3, A8 into B6, A9 into B9, and you have to place here. This is the procedure of multiplication. So anyone has any confusion that how to do multiplication of two matrix 3 by 3?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
ম্যাম এখানে কি ফার্স্টে এই যে রোটা ধরে কলাম গুলা চেঞ্জ করা যাবে?
Column change করা যাবে means? Column change করা যাবে means what? Column কোথায় কিভাবে চেঞ্জ করবে? Tell me. If you want to consider the first row here, and if you want to consider this 3 column at first, in that case your position will be different. At first you have to just write down the first row at first. Actually, I don't understand your question, so I cannot answer you. Okay, look at here. This is the matrix A. Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hear you.
Okay, this is the matrix A and this is the matrix B. So my question to you that AB multiplication is possible or not possible?
Ma'am, possible, ma'am.
Possible, ma'am.
Possible.
Possible because look at here.
Yes, ma'am, possible.
Here number of columns in A is equal to number of rows in B, right? So it is possible. Here number of columns are 3 and here number of rows 3. So in this way you can multiply these two matrices. Okay. So that's all about multiplication. Just I want to give you a task. One simple task. Okay. Okay, before that, I want to tell you what is transpose of matrix. Okay, what is transpose of matrix? Look at here. If A is an M cross N matrix over the real R, okay. So M cross N will be N cross N. That means row will be column, column will be row. Okay. This is called that means rows as you have to replace rows as columns and its columns as rows. This is called the transpose of any matrix. And we denote the transpose of matrix is A transpose. Using this symbol, you can denote the matrix A transpose. Okay. So this is the example. This is the example A. That is.
Ashley, can you put down your microphone, please?
Hello. Is there any problem? Okay. This is the matrix A. A matrix is, look at here, the first row is 1, 5 and minus 7. And second row is 2, minus 1 and 6. And what will be our A transpose? A transpose will be, first row will be our first column, second row will be our second column. That means interchanging row and column, it is called the transpose of matrix. Is that okay? What is A transpose?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. This is the actually complex conjugate of matrix. Complex conjugate of matrix is, we know that this is the complex number. Z equal to x plus iy. We define any complex number in this way. We usually define complex number by z. And z equal to complex number means combining real number and imaginary number. The number which includes imaginary I. This is real portion, imaginary portion, and here x is the real number and iy is the complex number. And complex conjugate actually just changing the sign of the imaginary number. If z is equal to x plus iy, if I ask you what is the complex conjugate of z, in that case it will be z bar, and yeah, you have to define it x minus iy. This is complex conjugate of any number. So suppose this is a matrix and this matrix contains imaginary numbers. And if I ask you what is the complex conjugate of matrix, it will be A bar, and what will be the conjugate? Just changing the sign before I. Look at here, this I becomes minus I, this plus I becomes minus I, here minus I becomes plus I. And real numbers will be remain same. The real numbers will be remain same, just you have to change sign before the imaginary number. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the complex conjugate of the matrix. Okay, now this is the different types of matrices. There are several types of matrices out there. That is square matrix. Square matrix is the matrix with the same number of rows and same number of columns. It is called the square matrix. It is called the square matrix. And diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix is also square matrix. Okay, whose elements aij equal to 0 when I is not equal to j. Okay, what does it mean? In the first slide, what I showed you, I am showing you earlier again. That is A11, A12. This indicates the position of the elements. I have already told you. Here Aij means the all elements together. Okay. If what is the diagonal matrix? The diagonal matrix is when I is not equal to j, that elements will be 0. Okay, look at here the definition again. Okay, when I is not equal to j, in that time the elements value will be 0. It is called the diagonal matrix. Okay, that means what? Which elements will be 0? Look at here. When I is not equal to j, can you tell me? Suppose here A12, here I is not equal to j. A21, when I is not equal to j. Okay. M1, when I is not equal to j. Is it clear? Suppose A1.
IJ here.
আমি বুঝতেই পারতেছি না কি বলতেছেন এটা।
IJ means the first digit is I and second digit is J. Okay, if I consider the first digit is I and second digit is J, if I define the whole matrix as Aij, suppose if I is 1, J is 1, that means the first element. If I is 1, J is 2, that means this A12. If I is 2, J is 1, that means A21. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
how can it become like AIJ equals 0?
Okay, look at the condition.
Ma'am, A11 equal to I equal to Z.
Diagonal matrix, the condition is when I is not equal to J. In that time, Aij will be 0.
Okay.
যদি I আর J দুটো সমান না হয় তাহলে ওই এলিমেন্টটা 0 হবে। Is it clear? Diagonal matrix? Okay. Look at here. This is the diagonal matrix. I think after seeing the example, it will be clear to you. Look at here, the first element, this A11. A11 means I and J both are equal, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
If A11, that means I and J both are equal, right? If A22,
Yes, ma'am.
that means I and J both are equal. If A33, that means I and J both are equal, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So except these elements, all the other elements will be 0. So this is the diagonal matrix. দেখো A11, A22 and A33 এই তিনটা ছাড়া আর বাকি সব এলিমেন্টের ক্ষেত্রে কি I and J is not equal because this is A12, this is A13, this is A31, this is A what 21, 22, 23, 31, 32, 33. যখন I আর J ইকুয়াল হবে তখন সেখানে একটা ভ্যালু হবে আর যখন I আর J ইকুয়াল হবে না সেই জায়গাগুলোতে 0 হবে। Is it clear the definition?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it is clear or not? Please tell me, all of you.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is the diagonal matrix. Only diagonal elements, in the diagonal elements, there will be a value, and except the diagonal elements, all the other elements will be 0. This is the definition of the diagonal matrix. And diagonal matrix and identity matrix, both are same actually. But the problem is, in the diagonal matrix, these elements can be any value. And in the identity matrix, these elements will be only 1. These diagonal elements will be only 1. This is called the identity matrix. Okay? So if I ask you what is the difference between diagonal and identity matrix, except in both cases, except the diagonal elements, all the steps are 0. But the difference between diagonal and identity matrix is, in the identity matrix, diagonal elements will be only 1, and in the diagonal matrix, it can be any number in the diagonal elements. This is the difference between diagonal and identity.
So all identity matrices are diagonal matrix.
Yes, all identity matrices are diagonal matrix. Yes.
Ma'am, there will be 1. It cannot be all the matrix like there 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2.
No. Identity means 1, 0, 0,
Only
0,
1.
1, 0, 0, 1. Yes. If it is 4 by 4 matrix, it will be 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. This is the 4 by 4 matrix.
This is Bengali meaning scornometrics.
What?
Cornometric.
Cornometrics বাংলায় পড়তাম।
Cornometrics meaning হচ্ছে diagonal matrix.
Yes.
Cornometrics means diagonal matrix. Identity matrix Bangla, I don't know actually. What is the Bengali meaning of identity matrix? And we define identity matrix by I. Okay?
অভেদক।
So these are the definition actually of identity and diagonal matrix. And zero matrix.
আইডেন্টিটি ম্যাট্রিক্স মিন হচ্ছে মানে ম্যাম বাংলায় হচ্ছে পরিচয় ম্যাট্রিক্স।
অভেদক ম্যাট্রিক্স।
I don't know. Okay.
ম্যাম এখানে মানে আইডেন্টিটি মানে কি মানে ম্যাট্রিক্সের এই স্ট্রাকচার বুঝাইছে মানে এটা কি কিরকম ম্যাট্রিক্স এটা বুঝাইতেছে
One kind of matrix. This is one kind of matrix. We define identity matrix by I.
ওকে ম্যাম।
There are several types of matrices. This is one matrix. When you will do math 219 course later, those who are from CSE department, your next course will be Math 219. There you will find several uses of this identity matrix. Okay. And the other students also will do this course, but after finishing the calculus. Okay, zero matrix. Zero matrix, if all the terms are zero, then it will be zero matrix, and also it is called the null matrix if all the elements are zero. Okay, so it can be your question also that what is matrix, what do you mean by transpose of matrix. After that I can ask you write down different type of matrices. In that case you have to write square matrix, diagonal matrix, identity matrix, and also the zero matrix. So it can be your question. Describe different type of matrices with example. In that case, you have to write down the definition and also the example. Okay, that's all about the definitions. Now, I want to give you a task.
Ma'am, no more today.
20 minutes left.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yes.
Ma'am, I was a bit late. I think I missed the attendance because there was net problem. I told one of my friends.
You are who is talking? Tell me your name.
Akimul Islam must be, ma'am. Akimul
Yes,
Islam.
you are always late. I can remember your name.
Me, ma'am, I'm late, always late. I don't think so, ma'am.
But
I don't think so.
I found sometimes you are
Ask
late.
them, ma'am. Ask them.
Ma'am, Ashfi told us, but ma'am, my network is also down. That's why I can't able to inform you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, wait. Anyone else who missed the attendance? Okay, only Ashfi. Okay, now today's task is just after finishing this task, I will not teach you more today. Look at here, the 3x3 matrix is here. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
A. You have to find out, consider this matrix as A. Okay. Now your task is you have to find out A into A transpose. You have to consider this matrix as A. After that you have to find what I am telling you. You have to consider the matrix A. After that you have to find A into A transpose. A into A transpose equal to what? You have to tell me the answer. Simple task. That means this is your matrix. This will be A into A transpose equal to what? Just tell me the answer. Okay? Find out and share the answer. All of you. Can you understand what you have to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am, I got the attendance.
Sorry.
Ma'am, actually, I got the attendance.
Okay, I'll give you attendance. Don't worry. At first, do the math.
Okay, ma'am, I'm doing it.
Okay.
মানে মোহন যারা কোনো বাড়িতে